Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our webinar this morning. I'll just leave the webinar open for a moment just to allow people to join. I can see the people popping in now. Just give it a minute or so, and then we'll get started. I can see people just popping in there now, so we'll get started in about 30 seconds or so. Okay, so welcome. We'll get started. I can see everybody's in now. So good morning. I'm delighted to be here to host our partners and friends from Complete Software, who will share with us a quick overview of accounts payable and purchase automation, and promises to transform your workflow. I'm Mark Donaldson from Reveal, your host today. I'm a qualified accountant, obsessed by improving processes and efficiency. I have looked at the slides, and it's an interesting presentation. And I think in business we all strive to try and improve our efficiencies and processes, and certainly that's something I'm obsessed of, not just in work life, day-to-day life. So I'll just run through the agenda of what we're going to cover today. The team will introduce Complete Software, a background in terms of what their customers are saying, and some real world examples. We'll talk about starting that accounts payable automation journey, how to take control of that supplier purchasing and putting those controls in place to ensure that you're saving time and money. Kerry will give us a live demonstration of the platform, and then there's a Q&A afterwards, which I'll host. If there's any questions, just pop them in the box down at the bottom. So you should be able to just see at the bottom there, Q&A. Just type those in. I'll cover those at the end, and I'll read through those during the presentation. In terms of logistics for today, the session is recorded. We will share a recording with you afterwards. Please pop those Q&As in there. All microphones obviously will be muted, apart from those running those speaking. So what I'd like to do is introduce our speakers for today. We've got Kerry Bates, who's Strategic Partner Manager, Complete, has been at Complete for the last 3 years. She will run through with us the live demo. And then we've got Charlotte Newman, Strategic Partner Manager at Complete, who's been there for just over 7 years. I will now hand over to Charlotte to give us a run through.
Fantastic. Thank you for that introduction, Mark. Much appreciated. And good morning, everyone. And thank you for joining. So we will start with just a bit of background about Complete Software. We were founded here in the UK in 2008, delivering advanced purchasing and accounts payable automation solutions to businesses of all sizes. We now have over 30,000 users across 12 countries and process millions of invoices each year. We have UK-based implementation support and customer success teams, and we provide real-time integrations into basically all leading accounting softwares, so including the likes of Xero, QuickBooks, your Sage products, and many more. We are a leading provider of purchasing and accounts payable solutions because of our focus to deliver best-in-class functionality within our products. We work with organizations that have processing requirements of 1,000 invoices a year, 100,000 invoices a year, and we're able to cover this broad scale because we offer a solution that is at an affordable price point and delivers that immediate ROI to our customers. Complete solution is industry agnostic. We have many customers across a variety of verticals, including in the education sector, for example, not-for-profits and charities, hospitality, retail, healthcare. You see banking and finance on screen. So we've just provided you with a few example names of our customers for you to see. We are also keen to share with you what our customers say about us. So we do get great feedback on our product, including around the integrated online buying side of things, that purchasing from all suppliers like Amazon Business, where it's easy, controlled and automated, with finance no longer needing to worry about the invoicing side because it brings efficiency and control. And also those commenting on our AP solution say it's easy, it saves a huge amount of time, and delivers efficiency gains of above 90%. We also have CFOs and FDs recommending our solution to colleagues, and we have one particular implementing our system in the last 3 companies that he has worked in as CFO, because for him it promotes seamless transparency to business owners and is fast and cost effective to implement. So just some feedback there for you. So how does the Complete solution work? Complete resolves the key challenges experienced with a manual accounts payable process, including things like keying in invoice data, time-consuming coding, reconciling invoices against orders, and chasing invoices for approval. So you can start your accounts payable automation journey by simply emailing all your invoices into Complete. Any invoice type can be sent, including PDF, Word, Excel, scanned paper invoices. Multiple pages, languages, and multiple currencies are all supported within Complete. We will capture the header and line data of every invoice that we receive, and that's powered by AI technology, which removes any manual keying of invoice data into your accounting software. Because we offer real-time integrations with accounting softwares, we perform duplicate invoice checking, supplier bank detail validation, all to reduce risk and increase productivity, with further features including default analysis coding and automatic matching of invoices to purchase orders. Invoices can then be routed on a multi-tiered dynamic approval workflow based on any account codes, departments, BI codes, suppliers, or value thresholds to meet your organization's approval control needs. Once invoices have been approved, they'll be transferred in real time across to your integrated accounting software, and that includes the PDF of the invoice itself as well, so streamlining your entire end-to-end AP process. Taking control of your supply purchasing is also a key consideration when looking at automation, whether you're currently calling up, emailing suppliers, buying in store, online, or raising some form of purchase order currently. Getting best prices, controlling spend against budget, generating accurate cost commitments and accruals, as well as further automating the accounts payable process is all enhanced when you look at purchasing automation with Complete. So Complete can integrate with your online suppliers, including Amazon Business, Lyrico, Screwfix, eBay, and over 50 other supplier websites. And this is a list that continues to grow. And this functionality automatically captures your online basket into a purchase request for instant visibility to your business and saves a huge amount of time. Purchase requests can then be approved prior to order completion with the supplier, and then your finance team will benefit from automated invoice matching rates of up to 90%. So with that in mind, I will now be handing over to Kerry, who will provide you with an end-to-end demonstration of the Complete solution.
Thank you, Charlotte. That was really useful. I'm going to take you through a high-level demonstration of the core functionality of Complete software today. We're looking currently at the login screen for the iComplete application, and login is done via a unique email address and password. And we're hosted on Microsoft Azure, and we can allow access via web browser on any device. We are mobile optimized if you've got users that are working remotely or not always tied to a desk. When you log in, you're taken through to the home screen, which has a sleek user interface, and what you are seeing on the home screen will depend on the type of user that you are. I'm logged in as an administrative user today, so I've got access across the whole application. Looking at the home screen, we can see different tiles which represent different activities that can be performed from within the home screen. And the e-invoicing email address, it's as best practice, that's where suppliers are going to send in the supplier invoices, and that's where they go through the Complete Capture software, which is the technology sitting at the heart of the iComplete application. It extracts the data at both header and at line level, and it presents back to you in the form of a digital invoice document in the invoicing tray, which we're going to look at in the demonstration today. Along the bottom here, as Charlotte touched on, we've got integrations with over 50 e-commerce suppliers, which will allow you to build up your own unique dashboard of those top suppliers that you purchase with most frequently. Amazon Business being a one that our customers use most frequently and in most cases. So we'll be looking at the Amazon Punch Out integration today. When I click into the Amazon Business tile, I am taken through into the Amazon Business website. And it's there where I can start and create the basket of goods that I want to buy today. I simply search for the item that I want to buy, add that item to my basket, selecting the quantity that I want to buy. And then I'm asked to submit these items for approval. And it's here whereby the supplier recognizes that the basket of goods has been completed in conjunction with Complete Software, and Complete Software is now going to grab that basket of goods and pull it back into Complete Software application as a digital requisition document, which is what we're looking at now. As we can see, the header information has been populated for us, including all of the supplier's details with their ordering email address, the delivery site, the delivery date, and the currency code. And the line item information has been taken directly from the Amazon Business website. And what that means is there is a positive impact on the invoice to order matching rate. When we see our customers getting matching rates of up to 95% because of this functionality, there's no margin for error when people are free text adding item descriptions, for example. Errors can be made, but not in this example. The unit cost, quantity, net VAT, and gross have all been populated for us, and the analysis in this scenario has been populated via a rule set that's been created against the supplier. So we've got pre-populated the account code, tax code, and department. We will be caching the key reference data, including those analysis codes directly from whichever ERP or finance system it is that you're using. Once we're comfortable that the requisition document is correct, we need to get approval before it can be committed to the supplier. At this point, it stays in requisition stage until the approval has been made. And approval is gained by selecting from one of our preset, pre-built approval workflows, which are popping up just here for me to choose from. In this example, I'm sending it across to my department heads or my budget holders workflow, and they will now be notified via email that there is a transaction that's waiting for their attention. Going to quickly switch profiles to show you what it looks like from an approver's perspective. And in this environment, Rory is my approver. When I log in as Rory, first of all, you'll see that he's got a much more restricted view of that home page that we saw, first of all, when I accessed it via my own profile, because our approvers have only got access to the parts of the software that are relevant to their role. Rory simply logs in, clicks into his order tray, and here you can review all of the requisitions that are waiting for his attention. The top one in the tray page here is the one that we've just sent through for approval. Rory can now review that requisition document and he's now got the options to approve or deny that transaction. Commentary can be added, although it's not a mandatory step. And when he clicks approve now, it takes that transaction from the awaiting approval tray, moves it across to the approved tray. And when he clicks into the transaction now, he can see within the documents and timeline that we've actually now approved that transaction and submitted it out successfully to Amazon for fulfillment. There's no further action here needed either by the requisitioner or by the approver. That complete is now actually going to go back into Amazon Business and close off that basket. And now we just need to wait for the goods to arrive. Logging back in as myself, and while we're on the subject of approvals, I'm going to show you exactly how those approval workflows can be built to either replicate your existing business processes, or to enhance and improve those business processes that you have. The workflows are managed from within the configuration of the software, and the workflows are something that the consultants working that complete software will build for you in the project phase. All of our new customers that come live with us go through a comprehensive project design so that when you go live, you are using software that's being configured specifically to your requirements. Workflows can be built as simply or as complex as you desire. And we're looking at a simple example of a workflow here, but a one that resonates with most businesses. So it's our department heads workflow or our budget holders workflow. We decide what type of transactions we want to allow to be routed into this workflow. So whether or not we want to separate workflows out for orders and separate workflows out for invoices and credit notes. Or in this example, we're going to allow all transactions to be routed into this workflow. We've got two positions in this workflow. In position one, we've got simultaneous or parallel approvers. What that means, the benefit is that if you've got an order or invoice that's coded to multiple stakeholders, they will all get notification at once that there is a transaction that's waiting for their attention, and all the relevant stakeholders must log in to approve their portion of that order or invoice. You can see here, if we drill into one of the positions, the criteria that this step is configured against is picking up on the line level detail, and any line in that order that's coded to the department English in this particular scenario means that that's what's routing that order into this particular step of the workflow. We can select from multiple different types of conditions to route those approvals on. So whether or not that's things like you want approval based on supplier, whether or not it's on the GL code, or whether or not it's on department or location, can all be configured within a workflow. And also you can configure different workflows based on matching statuses, for example. So we often find that customers want scenarios set up whereby orders that match against an invoice invoices that match against an order that already had approval will take a slightly different journey to invoices that have come in directly from a supplier with no order to match back to. In this example of this workflow here, we now see that position 2 has got some value attributed to it. So the CEO in this example wants to authorize any orders or invoices that have got a value of £3,000 or above. You can add third and fourth steps into those approval workflows as you so desire. The next logical step for us to look at is the invoices tray. And the invoices tray is where the finance team are going to spend the majority of their time, where they will be interacting with invoices, reviewing, checking coding before they're sent for the final approval and posting into the finance system. You can see here also that this is where we get to review the purchase order matching status. So if you are deploying complete software with the purchase ordering, when an invoice is received, the software is going to look to match it back against an originating purchase order. And that's where the matching statuses come from. So we can see variations on the matching status, such as a matched invoice to order, no purchase order reference number, situations whereby we've received a direct invoice. Also, there are some alerts to the finance team here for some exception management. So things like overmatch, where an invoice is coming at a higher value and needs reviewing by the finance team. Also, it's flagging up any invoice duplicates as a bit of a catch for the finance teams as well. So if the software recognizes that an invoice has been seen before, it's alerting the finance team to that so that they can go in and review, potentially make the decision to delete that invoice out rather than accidentally paying the duplicate invoice and then having to go through the process of requesting a refund from the supplier. Going to jump in and show you what that invoice looks like once it's gone through the extraction process. And effectively what we get is we're presented with a 2-page breakdown of that invoice information. This is a matched example, so we can review the purchase order that the invoice is matched back to. And we can also review the invoice PDF itself. We can see here the bank detail validation functionality. So in a live environment, when we're connected to a finance system, we are going to validate that the supplier bank details held within the finance system match the supplier bank details presented on the order, on the invoice. And that just means that the finance team get another catch situation whereby if there is a discrepancy between those bank details, they've got the opportunity to question that with the supplier before they authorize a payment run. In this example here, we can see that the line item information has been inherited from that originating purchase order, and that includes the analysis as well. With that said, finance teams need to be able to easily interact with the coding because they might spot that there was actually an error on the original purchase order coding. Therefore, they've got the ability to interact with that coding using the quick actions buttons here, where they can select to choose and to change any of the analysis present on the invoice, because of course the invoice is the superseding document, and these are the details that are going to be passed back into the finance system. We also have the opportunity to interrogate that invoice in a little bit more detail on the second page, where again we can review the invoice, also any supporting documentation that had been captured alongside the invoice. So things like the body of the email, perhaps there was a delivery note as well. That's going to be stored alongside that invoice transaction. And here again, we've got the ability to drill down into the invoice detail at both header and at line level. Commentary can also be added if we wish to, and then that invoice, once it's all complete, we can send that off for approval again before it's posted into the finance system. When we click submit, we can then move through the grid, and we can then review the next invoices that are awaiting for attention. And once an invoice is approved, it drops into our approved tray page here, where we can review all historic invoice approvals. At the point of approval, the invoice is going to be posted directly into the finance system. The invoice data is transferred, and depending on the finance system that you're working with, we will also transfer all of the invoice data and either a PDF copy of the invoice or a URL link to the invoice as well, which means that you've then got that record of the invoices both held in complete software for review and of course into the finance system as well. As part of the integration, we will also pull back the journal reference number so that you've got that full end-to-end audit trail of that invoice going through complete software, as well as being able to review it from within the finance software itself. We do have some additional functionality which sits within the reporting and the budgets tray. So we've got both some out-of-the-box reports that you can interact with, so you can review things like invoices that are pending approval. And we've also got financial reports that our customers find useful around accruals and committed spend, for example. And our new functionality that's just been released is our custom reporting, whereby you can create your own custom reports that you find useful. They're very simple to build, and they will also be saved within your reporting tray. The budget reporting gives an additional tool to our customers. So it's budget monitoring. So budgets can be created within complete software, giving your budget holders an overview of any budget that's been allocated, for example, against an analysis code or against a department, or perhaps even a budget that's been created for a particular event. Any invoices or orders that are coded to the analysis that budget is built on will be captured by that budget, so your budget holders can log in, review what budget is available left against a particular department, for example, as we're looking at here, and then they can make the decision as to whether or not they want to approve an order, or whether or not they need to go and ask for additional budget allocation. That's a high-level overview of the core functionality within Complete Software. So with that, I'm going to hand back over to Charlotte to take you through the final bit of the slide deck presentation.
Thank you, Kerry. That was great, and hopefully a really valuable presentation of how Complete works kind of end to end across purchasing and invoice management for everyone here today that might not have seen us before. We will now go on to a bit of a Q&A. So I don't know, Mark, if we've had any questions come in, we can go through those now.
I have a handful of questions, and
Fantastic.
if anybody else has any more questions, please just add them in, type them in at the bottom, and they'll come through. So I'll do them in order. I think a sort of observation from me first. There's obviously the purchase controls, the Amazon business. The punch in is really impressive, and I know businesses that use that. One thing I hadn't really considered was the fraud element as well, and actually those matching of bank details that really stood out for me. So I know that's a huge issue at the moment with fake invoices and things like that. So for me, that was something that I took away from it, having known the product, but hadn't really considered that. So so thank you very much. So questions, I'll handle these in no order. The first question, it says, can I send all invoices, including paper invoices? How does this work, please?
The answer is yes, absolutely. So our complete capture engine, that is the AI technology that we talked about, which extracts the header and line data from every invoice we receive, that can process pretty much any invoice document in any format. So the gold standard these days is obviously a digital PDF, but we can accept anything in Word, Excel, etc. When it comes to paper documents, they just need to be scanned in, and they can be attached to an email and forwarded across to the e-invoicing email address in the same way. If you are receiving a lot of paper, you can also batch scan. So by that, I mean you could scan in multiple invoices, save those as one PDF and send that through into the capture engine, because what the system is obviously intelligent enough to do is split out that single PDF and separate out the multiple invoices and send those down. So yes, we can accept those scanned paper documents easily.
Fantastic, thank you. Hope that answers the question. I'm sure it has. It says Amazon, does the approver receive an email to remind them to log in? You may have covered that, but
they do. So there's a couple of ways that notifications can be configured within Complete. So from an approver's perspective, you have the option to either send an email notification to the approver for every single transaction, whether that be an order or an invoice, that requires their authorization. So they will receive an email. There's a link in that email which will prompt them to go to the Complete login page. They can log in and review. If you're processing a high volume of transactions, purchase requests and invoices, you might prefer what we call an approver's daily report, and you can set the time for that, but that's effectively one email a day that they will receive, which provides an overview of the transactions that are sat within their Complete system awaiting their approval. Another feature that we have just around the approval side and notifications is the concept of approver nudges, whereby you can re-notify again via email that approver has a transaction that requires their approval.
Okay, fantastic. I'm going to tie in another question to that. Does the original requester get notified if it's approved? I assume they do.
They do indeed, yep. So the same process, they'll receive an email notification to say that their request has been fully approved. And obviously with Amazon, that's automatic. That goes straight out to the supplier. And with other suppliers, it's automatically issued out via email, but that original requisitioner will receive a notification.
Excellent. And on a similar theme, can you mark things as urgent for approval? I guess that, if there's a sort of something that's mission critical, can you somehow mark that as an urgent?
Yeah. So within the Complete system, we have the concept of what we call notes, which is basically to add commentary against any particular transaction. And those notes are visible, i.e. you'll be able to see that there's a note attached to that transaction from within the tray pages that Kerry showed you, where you've got the multiple transactions in one page. So a user could use it's almost like an emoji of some description to say that this is urgent, and that any commentary and notes are all date and time stamped as well.
Okay, excellent. I can see a couple more. So can you manage all supplier purchases from within Complete?
Yes, absolutely. So obviously Kerry's demonstration today focused on that quite unique tool that we have around integrated online purchasing with suppliers like Amazon Business, but we also have the concept of a free form requisition, whereby you can open up a purchase request, select the supplier, and that supplier list is obviously unique to each customer. That's being cached through from the integrated accounting software. Select the supplier and add the line items and the items that you're looking to purchase before sending that for approval.
Okay, excellent, great, thank you. And there's only one more question, which is around pricing. How does the pricing work?
So there's a few elements to the pricing. The first is an annual software subscription, so fairly standard with a SaaS model. That software subscription is based on a couple of things. The accounting software that you're integrating with, that's an element that needs to be taken into consideration, and also the number of users that are required in the software. So when we're looking at users, we're talking about AP and finance users, but also anyone that would be logging in to raise purchase requests if you're using ordering, and any users that would need access to the software for approval. So that's the software subscription. The second part of the pricing relates to the processing of the invoice documents. So there's a small nominal cost associated to each invoice document that's sent through the system. We sell them on a transaction credit basis. So those are pre-purchased in volume bundles. The more you buy, the cheaper they are, down to as little as 20 pence per invoice. And that's a fixed cost just for the invoice document. So if that invoice has multiple pages, multiple lines, that's still a fixed cost on a per invoice basis.
So it doesn't vary depending on the number of line items on an invoice.
Correct.
Fantastic. Okay,
there's also just helpful. A little point to add there, Mark, which is some of the accounts payable and purchasing automation suppliers will also charge for purchase orders, but purchase orders are not a chargeable feature within Complete Software.
Okay, that comes on to my next question, I think, which has just been asked, which is how the system works with purchase orders and how that sort of features in. So it says, how does the system work with POs?
Yeah, so as Kerry says, there's not a per transaction cost for purchase orders. So our purchase ordering utilities, the integrated online purchasing, the free-form requisitioning is all included in the software subscription. It's obviously just a case that if you want to roll out purchase ordering, it might require a higher number of users on the software, but all of that functionality is included. There's only a small consideration around the integrated purchasing. So the example that Kerry showed you with Amazon Business, that's a native supplier that we provide as standard. We do also have an additional tool that we call supplier plugin, whereby we can create very similar connections as you've seen with Amazon Business with pretty much any online supplier that you work with. And that's a separate subscription on top where we can review your kind of top 5, top 10 online suppliers that you're using and validate if we can create those connections for you. But as I mentioned earlier, we've already got kind of 50 suppliers that we know work, and we can continue to validate further, but that's the only additional subscription would be for those additional supplier plugin suppliers.
Fantastic, that's great. One more question's just come in. So can the system go and grab monthly invoices, i.e. say, go get your monthly invoice in an automated way?
It's a great question. Unfortunately, not. So where you've got invoices that are kind of hidden behind a login on a specific account, for example, those do need to be downloaded in order for our system to process them, because the capture technology is about receiving documents. We don't have the concept of going to retrieve. It becomes quite challenging if you're trying to maintain integrity around login details for customer accounts and so on. So we just have the process whereby those will be downloaded and emailed through in the same way.
Yeah, fantastic. I imagine that will change as we sort of start to embrace e-invoicing and things, but that's a topic for another day. So,
indeed.
Any more questions from anybody attending? There's nothing more coming through at the moment, but that was really helpful. I hope everyone has found that as helpful as I have. Thank you both, Kerry and Charlotte. It's been fantastic. The questions have been superb. So thank you to everybody for that. I can see on the screen there contact information. By all means, reach out directly and either to directly to Complete or to ourselves. We're happy to facilitate an introduction there as well. So
yeah, fantastic. Thank you, Mark, and the rest of the Reveal team, and thank you everyone for taking the time to join us today.
It's brilliant. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you.
Take care.